3, 2. Welcome to Prime Properties. I'm Michael Morris. Sitting with me, my good buddy Lou Willard. Lou, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Lou, I'm really happy today because we brought a friend of yours who, the guy coming in from the parking lot, this guy is pure electricity, and he told me he's going to do fantastic on this show. Let's introduce, Lou, he's your buddy. You introduce him.
Well, with us, joining us on the show today is my good friend, Nick Gabbard, Emerge Real Estate.
What up? I'm really excited to be here. When Lou texted me, I mean, I might have had an appointment, but that got canceled really quick. Yeah. Here I am. Little nervous, little excited. We're just going to do stuff today.
Nobody's going to get hurt here today. We're not doing an actual home inspection. There's no way you're going to get hurt.
I trust this guy to get up on ladders. That's not for me.
Well, let me get into, because we have half an hour and it goes quick, but I want to get into some of the things that we were texting back and forth. You're with Emerge, and what I thought was striking is the first comment you made to us was the homeowner, if we're looking at them buying, the first thing you wrote was waiving home inspection and remedies is something that you're seeing, right?
A lot, yeah.
Why?
It's such a strong seller's market right now in Central Ohio, so when you're dealing with multiple offers, it's not even always just the price that's the most important thing. So a lot of people are waiving remedies, which happens quite a bit. But the thing that does actually worry me, and I always tell my clients, don't waive your home inspection. It's just not worth it. There's always going to be another house out there, but there can be some serious issues that you can't see. And I'm always looking for them when I'm on a home showing. Yeah. But it's just dangerous. You don't know what you're getting into. Even, I have some people who are contractors, and they're going through it, and they say, well, Nick, I looked at it good. I said, cool, we need a second pair of eyes on that.
Well, do you think it's because the contractor, I know Lou and I talk about this all the time, like off the airs, somebody will say, oh, that's good enough, right? Not that Lou says that, but when you're a person that builds things for a living, there's always, what's the word you say, Lou? That there's an allotment or there's an allowance.
Yeah,
right? There's a certain amount of allowance
for the builders.
So when you would look at homes, let's say, 1998 to 2002, in the cabinets, there was a gap between the ceiling and that cabinet. It's like, no, it's fine. You can let that go. Because they were new builds, right? Well, somebody else moving in there, that cabinet might be on its way down 15, 20 years later, and you can't ignore that.
Well, it's funny that you actually say that, because I don't know if you guys have talked about this before, but homes that were in like the late 90s, early 2000s, even some of the really reputable companies, they were just throwing those things together. Oh, yeah. And I might myself actually consider a home that was built in the 70s or 80s over that era.
Because of the quality.
Yeah, because of the quality. You see some of these homes that were built in the 60s, 70s. I mean, you walk in them, they're in great condition. They're a little older, but you can fix that yourself.
Well, Lou was talking about some of the homes down in German Village and all that. Those homes are like 100 and some years old, and nothing's wrong with them.
Nothing's wrong with them. I mean, the foundation is great. I mean, you'll get a little water in the basement, but heck, some of us are a little older and get a little wet at times too. I mean, it can happen. It can happen. They make depends.
There's some things you can just let go of. It's not that important to fix that.
But also if they've taken care of the waterproofing in the basement, those houses structurally are 90% of them we see are in great condition. I mean, it's amazing because people have redone them or they're buying them to remodel them. And the foundation's been done, they're good to go. But you're going to something like you're talking about in that 90s era, you got some shifted block.
Well, because they were building entire communities all at once. It was almost like they were playing The Sims. I'm going to have 20
playing The Sims.
Yeah, I mean, I remember friends of mine buying it in an area right outside of Grove City. And it was almost like the mobile home explosion. They all look the same, so it's easy to build them. They were all beige inside, standard doors, standard windows, cabinets. But when you went in there, that's why I talk about that gap in the cabinets, because I asked Lou this, and, Lou would shoot me straight and be like, that ain't that big a deal. But I was saying, would you buy that house? He goes, oh, no, I would not. I wouldn't do that.
Cabinets?
No, but little things, little ticky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm asking him, I'm leaning on you. Tell me what the best way to go is. And there's certain things he let go because he could fix them or he knows someone that fixes them. If I don't, he'd be like, well, that's on you, right? I did the home inspection, everything's fine. But people ignoring this are setting themselves up for trouble down the line, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the most important thing, spend the $250, $300, whatever it costs to get a home inspection. It's the best money you're ever going to spend. It'll give you a peace of mind.
The next part of this is they're waiving the inspection and the time for remedy because the market's hot, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we talk about is I always forget the number, if it's 34 or 68 new people move to Columbus every single day. And you had said it's because of the big corporations moving here, right?
Absolutely.
You've got the Amazons, Google, things like Facebook. You're dealing with these people every day. Like, are they coming to Columbus and they're just excited about it, or is it kind of like, I got relocated to Fresno and like, why am I here?
No, they're excited. A lot of the people that are being transported, is that the right word?
Transferred.
I think you want to say different than trans. They're not cattle.
We're not going to be transported,
okay, yeah.
but
the people who are
relocated.
being
They're
transferred
loaded
there-
on an RV and put over here.
They're like, Facebook's just bringing them in herds. No, these are a lot of the higher corporates, and they're moving to the New Albany's, Granvilles, Westerville, Worthington, that kind of areas where they're moving. So a lot of them, they're happy. They're going to move here and have enough money to start a good life.
Are they moving there because they're being told that's the area to be, or are they moving there to be closer to work?
Both. I think, I mean, everyone wants to be kind of close to work, but that's where they're being told to move. Like right now, like, so I live out at Buckeye Lake, and there's a whole real estate explosion going on out there right now. A lot of people didn't realize it because, 4 years ago they started working on the dam out there, and it's finally fixed. There's like a really nice bike path, and there's new businesses opening everywhere out there. So that's kind of sidetracking, but either way,
It's actually not. That's why we want to hear this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but then, so Granville is about 20 minutes north of me, and I can't believe how that's exploding. A lot of people love their school systems, and it is a really nice little town. It's just like this little picturesque. I've never been there until 4 years ago when I moved further out east. Super nice town, but the prices there, I mean, it's very
astronomical.
It's very on par with an Arlington, Bexley, New Albany.
Well, you know why? It's those people in that explosion that I want to be out in the country. I'm in New Albany. I'm in the cream of the crop, but there's too many people. I don't have enough land. So when you get those people moving from New Albany, they're paying those dollars for that area, not realizing we're going to build up around you just like we did New Albany anyway.
Yeah, and 161, God love it, it has a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, so people just fly into the New Albany and Gahanna area, Westerville, that work there.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. Unless it's between, say, 8 o'clock in the morning and 3:30, you can get anywhere on 161.
Yeah.
So you're loving it up there.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Anytime I have to go north from Buckeye Lake, I always go up 37 to 161. Quick route.
Those areas, are you doing a lot in those areas?
Yeah, so I'm like 50% like suburb city and 50% rural right now. A lot of my business is Fairfield County, although I do go into Licking. I do a ton in Franklin too. But all of my business comes 100% from Sphere and referrals. I don't really pay for internet leads and do gimmicky stuff. For me, it's just
like radio shows.
like
You don't do
radio.
gimmicky
I
things on
don't
radio
do.
shows?
I do radio shows and I love them. Radio is still number
This
one.
is your number one show you listen to?
Yes, absolutely. No, so for me, that's where all my business comes from. So it's really coming from people I know, which I grew up on the east side of Columbus, but I have a lot of friends who have moved to Dublin, Grove City, down to Commercial Point, up to Olentangy. So I drive everywhere. I put about 38,000 miles a year on my car.
My God. Lou's going to do that today. He's got to go. Where you got to go
Logan.
to? He's got to,
And the Logan. Well, I'm going to stop by basically Washington Courthouse first and then go to Logan.
I hear the trees are lovely in Washington
Well,
Courthouse.
I'm going to find out.
You're going to love it.
So all kind of jokes with that, I'll tell you after the show.
Do me a favor, pick me up like
I need
a
to hear
cap.
about that.
Yeah. You said that you grew up on the east side of town, but you kind of float all over the place. Real estate agents are no longer kind of like your local neighborhood expert, right? Or how would you phrase it? It was always the local neighborhood tavern or local neighborhood lawyer. You don't really have that now, right?
No, the internet has kind of opened that up. You can do so much research. I can sit there and figure out exactly what a neighborhood's worth in about 10 minutes of studying it. So I have no problem, even though, yes, I'm from the east side, I can go to Grove City and figure that out. I can go to Dublin and figure out the numbers. And after that, it's just negotiating and representing your client's best interest after that. But as far as areas, I work mostly the east side because that's where my people are from. But I'll go anywhere, and I do go anywhere. And I feel like most agents are like that. I mean, there are some agents that are just really big in certain cities or certain suburbs, but it's gone away compared to 10 years ago. It's completely different. It's open now.
Lou, you had something you were gonna.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the rehab loans. Is that
Yep.
where we're going to go next? Yeah, we can talk about what type of loan programs out there are for these people who want to do the rehabs or the flip, so to speak, is more how people recognize it.
And the other part of that was you said this isn't something that's seen on TV. Are we not supposed to talk about it on radio because it's not on TV?
No,
Because it's too late. Lou just said it.
So, yes, rehab loans are available. However, it's not as sexy as you see on TV shows. A lot of people go, and I can't even start naming them. I don't watch them because that's like.
Because you're listening to
Do
prime
you go
properties.
watch radio people?
Actually,
You know,
well,
maybe you do, I don't know.
well, here's the thing. I will say there's not a lot of it on TV, but if I ever see it, I will watch somebody that's in front of a microphone. Doesn't mean that it's good or bad. I think what it does is boost my confidence. I go, I'm not as bad as that guy.
Exactly. So,
But in your case, you probably look at those shows and go, oh, they put this whole house together in 3 hours. They redid the staircase, put a new roof on.
yeah, and a lot of people think like because these shows just say, okay, you have a $300,000 budget, so you can go buy a house for $220 and put 80 into it. It's not always that easy. I have some really good lenders that have their own contractors. Plus, that's another thing. You have to use the bank's approved contractors. So you can't go buy a house and say, okay, well, I want an additional $40,000 to put into it, and you do the work, or your uncle does the work.
Right.
You have to use licensed contractors that are approved through the bank. There's just a lot more paperwork involved. I'm not trying to talk anyone away from it. It's actually great products.
No, I think it's a great thing to point out because I actually didn't know that. I didn't know it had to be, but because the way I look at it is I need a $40,000
because you've seen a show before.
Well, yeah, because it looks like I can get approved for $50,000, and my buddy I went to high school with that owns a truck with 3 wheels will fix this,
Yes.
right? But he'll do it for $5,000, and I'll pocket the rest.
And it's smart for the bank because they have to protect their money that they're giving you. So they want to make sure the contractor isn't like Uncle Sam off Craigslist.
That's why the banks and lenders should be paying for the home inspections too.
But you know what? That's
That's
a
a
solid.
whole- That's a whole
you know
different
what?
show.
That is.
That's an entirely different
We've
show.
talked about that many
Yeah.
times, but as a person that buys and sells for people, they're waiving remedy and the home inspection. That should be something that is approved by the bank because again, that bank loan is you're basically saying we're borrowing this money and this property is up to scale, it's up to par, and you're going to waive that part where Lou could have walked in there for $400 and told you everything was wrong with the water heater, the gas line, everything else. Instead, you're just going to surpass that. That is something where that continuing education and certification of
Yeah.
home inspections.
Which is great because now Ohio actually has the licensing. Ours is actually in process. So we'll get them back here, I guess, in the next month or so. But everybody has to have the Ohio license in November to do home inspections, or you cannot perform a home inspection, even if you're members of INTERNACHI or something like that, which is the International Association of Home Inspectors. If you're not licensed in Ohio by November 1st, you can't perform an inspection.
Which I know realtors and people I've talked with at my company, we're all super excited about
Oh,
the
that's great.
licensing with
I asked for that in
inspectors.
2008.
There's so many janky inspectors out there, and they don't know what they're doing, and it's really actually kind of scary that someone's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars because they saved a couple bucks by paying a guy off Craigslist or a simple Google search. Hey, if you're on Google, that's cool, but I'm just saying like. People are doing a Google search and they're like, oh, well, this is 200 as opposed to 300. You get what you pay for.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got a call last week. We did an inspection for someone who let their guy friend do the previous inspection. Just went completely bad. So then they said, okay, well, I'll just pay for the next one and then we'll use you guys. Can we go back to that house? I'm like, if it's still under contract, no, we got a different one now because that contract is gone. So they lost the initial house that they really loved because they didn't want to pay a few $100 for a home inspection.
Wow.
And it just went south from the time they opened up the door. First off, if there's not a legitimate company, your inspection means nothing because you can submit what you want to them and they're going to go, who's this guy? And you're not going to get anything done. Then to touch back on the rehab thing, you have how hard is it for you to explain to buyers that a flipped house or a rehabbed house is not a new built house?
Some of the
That's pretty solid,
worst,
actually.
jankiest houses. That's an appropriate term for this. Janky house.
Is that like a medical term or is it a real estate?
It's a
janky?
real estate medical term. Some of the jankiest houses I've ever been in are flips. Those people are doing it to make money. I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're they're bad at doing work.
They're doing the least and the less.
Oh my! They
Well,
go
and
in there
then
and slap on some
there's a
paint.
lot of like mismatched stuff because we put too much money in this one room. We're gonna just get the minimum out of this because you're just trying to flip it, but you're trying to do it based on what you see on TV.
You're
Like
not
no
doing
big
it
deal.
right.
Yeah,
You're
we'll bring
doing
in
it
5
cheap.
people. They'll do little bits and pieces, but you're forgetting the overall aesthetic, and you're losing what that house really is supposed to look like because you're just trying
Absolutely.
to get cash out.
Because I know I was just wondering from an agent's perspective how difficult of an explanation that or conversation I should say that is, because I know when we're doing the inspections, it is a difficult conversation when they've put new paint, new carpet, new flooring, new cabinets, set that appliance package that they all get now in that house, and we're telling them, well, you know, that's all nice, this is going on, yeah, but this is really nice over here. Absolutely it is, but like, you need a new electrical panel. You know, it's like, this isn't going to get it. And they're looking at you like you're crazy because they've put all the stuff that they can walk right in there and see, and it's beautiful.
They put on the second layer of shingles.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
That's a
great
big
one.
one. They'll just
Hey, we
drop
got a new
shingles
roof.
up,
No,
yeah.
you don't have a new roof.
Well, it's like they care
crap
about the
underneath.
shell of it and not really
Yeah.
the functionality of it. And especially with the market being how it was. And I want to ask, because you said something before we started, and I was so glad you said this. We're going to get to it. That's called a tease in radio.
Bam.
That the market being hot, people are so dead set they're going to get into that house. Then they get into it, and then they're going to go, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But the fear of losing out of that house is really forcing people to think, I got to get this one. You don't have to get this one. There are other ones out there. Inventory might be low, but there is another place for you other than this one. There is no perfect home.
Yeah, you definitely rather get the right home than rush into one. I mean, we spend a lot of our time just talking to people about their skill set. When they start telling us what they can and can't fix, we start talking to them about skill set.
Tell
you
that
know.
story you told last, like when somebody's like, oh yeah, this door, we can handle it, blah, blah, blah. And you just said, no, you can't.
No, that time I did. I said, I don't think you want to mess with that yourself. I know you think you can. I get it. But let's talk about what this really entails. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I'm probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. Let somebody else do that. Because if you don't get it right, not only do you have a new door, it's going to be leaning, it's going to be a little crooked,
Yeah.
but it's also going to leak like a sieve when it rains.
It's
'Cause
not
you don't
going
know
to
what you're
shut, but
doing.
it's going to look real nice.
It's going to look really nice. So, but yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy.
So I kind of, I've been doing this quite a while, and I still go, I'm one of the few realtors that actually go to my home inspections. And that's because I want to actually physically see the problems, ask the inspector what's going on. So a lot of the times, I'm not going to try to make stuff up to my clients. If there's something I don't know or I can't clearly see, I'm going to say, look, let's do a home inspection, leave it up to the professionals, because, you know, I can also get into some stuff myself, just speculating that, oh, that's mold. I didn't test it for mold. I don't know.
Right.
So let's have the
Yeah.
inspector look at it. And, you know, I always tell people, a lot of times people come out and, you know, after the third time we look, if they haven't found what they like, they look at me and they're kind of feel like I'm disappointed in them. And they're like, Nick, I'm sorry to bring you out again. I said, we'll see 34. I mean, I hate to like always plant this seed, but I have shown people like 60, 70 houses before. I would like to
How
show them
picky is
less.
that person?
Well, it's not even, I don't know.
So you're the person who wants to deal with the fussy, janky client.
No, so
That's your word.
that is my word.
Not
Great
about
attitude.
the client, though. About
No, I'm
some
just
of the
kidding.
rehab problems.
But I just
you
think
see.
when you get into a home, it's such a personal thing. It's the biggest expense you're ever going to have. But there's also like a feeling you get from it, right?
I want people to be a little picky because I want them to love their house. I want them to pick a good house because I don't want them calling me right after they move in, like, because they didn't like it or they had second guesses or they found out that their neighbor is selling drugs or whatever it is. I do get those calls all the time. So for me, I want you to be picky.
From the neighbor?
Yeah, that I sold to drug dealers.
Oh.
Gosh, just kidding. So, no, but I want people to be a little bit picky because I actually enjoy showing homes. Like, it's really only probably 10 to 20% of realtors' jobs is showing homes. The rest of the time, I'm sitting at a computer. I'm doing negotiating. You know, whatever it is,
Reviewing contracts.
reviewing contracts, trying to prospect new business. So I'll gladly hop in my car and go show a few houses and I mean, pretty much everyone I hang out with is somebody I know or a referral. So it's like just going to hang out with my friends, seeing houses for an hour. Like, I'll do that all the time. Well, not 60 houses, hopefully, but I will.
Yeah, but there's going to be that one person that's going to say, "You'll show me 60 houses." I heard on the radio.
I heard it.
You also talked about in our messages back and forth about the buyers being more educated and putting in more time on that. But then I want you to kind of piece these together. You also said the market, while it's not dropping off, things have cooled a little, right? How can the consumer know that it's cooled a little bit when they're doing this research? Because I'll tell you where the research comes from. I looked online. I asked a buddy that's a realtor, blah, blah, blah. They don't have any real definitive research, but they know the areas they want to be, school systems, things like that. But they don't know the ebb and flow of the market like you do.
So the cooling down, I don't want to say it's really cooled down. It's just kind of leveled off. It's been such a strong seller's market for the last 4 to 5 years, probably 5 years. And it just kind of had to temper off at some point, because I'm walking in houses the last couple years that are at all different price points, 100, 200, 300, 400, just thinking in my head, this isn't worth this.
Right.
But somebody's going to pay this. And as long as the appraisers kept saying it's okay, that's fine. So now we're getting a lot of cut appraisals, which I think we were talking about before the show. It's actually a good thing for the market, because we don't want to get into a situation like we did back in 05, 06, 07, where it was just going so high and then it popped.
Right.
So, and then to get back to how, like I was saying, that buyers are more educated. If I'm working with 10 different buyers at one time, which is average, they're getting listings so fast, whether it's from what I set them up on, Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, other apps out there. So it's impossible, that I can be as fast as them. So it's almost being reactive. And a lot of the times now I'm seeing more and more, they're the ones sending me the properties they want to see, rather than me sending them.
Right.
Yeah, you set them up on an initial drip campaign, right?
Yep. So every time somebody comes in as a buyer, the first thing that I do is set them up on a search with the MLS, which is what realtors actually look like. It has the most accurate information. And I set them up on exactly what they want: the area, the price, the beds, the acreage, whatever it is. And so they get an immediate email each time. But like I said again, they're also, because of the lack of inventory, they think that they think that Realtor.com has more houses.
Yeah.
Zillow has more houses, which the funny thing is Zillow actually does have more houses, because they leave a lot of the in contracts and solds active just to get people to get hits on their website. Little industry tip there.
No, I'm glad you said that, because I cannot remember who we had on to talk about the Zillow and Redfin. It was a story out of Seattle where they were doing a comparison of Zillow really is dominating around here, and then Redfin is kind of like the northeastern hemisphere, and then California. Same thing. If I'm looking online, I just saw somebody do it 2 weekends ago. I told Lou this, that I was watching somebody go on Zillow to figure out what their house was worth.
Oh my gosh!
So,
I do not want to talk about estimates. Do we have to talk? Can we just?
We
skip
do
over
not.
that?
I just wanted to point out why people can't just trust what's online, right? Yeah, I don't want to say fake news, but when you're looking at those things and you're like, my house is worth $279, based on what? No one's walked in here. Based on what the neighborhood's going for. That may not be the case. You might have a haunted forest in your house, and somebody else's house could be spectacular. They're just taking an average of that market, what they're going for.
Yeah, and that's all it is. So if you are looking at Zestimates or anything like that online, just really remember there's not a actual realtor or educated person sitting down to figure out that number. They don't know that you're on this side of this street that's like the big divider. They don't know that your basement smells like cat pee. Right. that there's a lot of things that can really influence.
Not mine, just so people know that they're listening. Not mine.
I was looking right at you.
You were looking at me. That's why I'm stating that. If they look on Facebook Live, they can tell you were talking to me. These are all good things, and I feel like there's so much more we could cover, but we're kind of almost out of time. But how can people get a hold of you, Nick?
People can get a hold of me at my cell phone, 614-288-7141. Nobody's probably going to remember that, but just remember at 614Realtor. That is my Instagram and Facebook.
That's your handle?
That's my handle.
It's his handle.
614Realtor. There's some others out there. There's
very
the 614Realtor and stuff like that. But just remember the original 614Realtor. That is me. And also 7402, because I do go out to the 740, represent some rural folks too.
Representing. That's very unjanky of you. Nick, thank you for coming on. Lou, as always, good to have you. That's going to be it for
Thanks,
Prime
Nick.
Properties, and we will see you next week.
Thanks.